The flow of information to create and use project reports is reasonably complex. More than 60% of the PMP exam questions are related to process flow. One of those is the project reporting process. That is what I will explain so that you get a good grasp of the life cycle of work performance reports. Hi, I am Daud, project management coach and trainer. In this video, I will walk you through the end-to-end process flow of the project reporting process, showing you where the data initiates and how it passes through processes to become work performance information and how the project uses the information to create the work performance report. I will also talk about what happens to the report and how it is used. So for the purpose of discussion, there are two types of reports, work performance reports and ad hoc reports. The main difference is that work performance reports follow a well-defined process, while the ad hoc reports are generated on the fly with whatever information that is available. Here we will focus on the work performance report. Now, what was that? The work performance report, which means it is a report showing how work is progressing. So that leads us to a single source of where it all starts. That process is direct and manage project work, an executing process. This process is the only place where the project manager will collect the work performance data. This data will be an input to many processes to create the work performance information. One interesting thing is that all the processes that are going to take the work performance data to convert to work performance information are monitoring and controlling processes. The project team will take in all the work performance information during the monitor and control project work process to generate the work performance report. So let us see examples of work performance data that will get converted to work performance information when this data is taken in by various processes. First, control scope process. The data is number of rooms with type of flooring installed, which can be deliverables, and the work performance information from it can be % of rooms where flooring is installed correctly. Second, validate scope process. This process is only carried out when the sponsor is asked to accept a verified deliverable. So the data can be how many approved change requests related to the deliverable were implemented, while the information will be how many were missed or that all approved change requests were implemented. Third, control schedule process. Data is how many days it took to install flooring in those rooms, and information generated can be how late or early was that flooring work. Schedule forecast is another type of information projected here that the team will include when creating work performance report. Fourth, control cost process. Data is how much money was spent on flooring installation. So the information will be how much more or less was spent compared to the budget for flooring. Also, the cost forecast will be set here. Fifth, control quality process. Data can be observations recorded during flooring installation. For example, filling quality checklist to confirm all steps and checks were done in each room. The quality control will verify the checklists and also perform the inspections or tests as per the quality management plan. Then report the result as work performance information. Sixth, control resources process. Data example is how many flooring installers were engaged and what was their skill level. This will be compared with the plan to create work performance information like resources were not appropriately skilled. Seventh, monitor communications process. Data here can be when were other trades informed that rooms will be unavailable due to flooring installation. So in this case, information will be not all trades were notified, or notice was given with short lead time, or appropriate communication happened. Eighth, monitor risks process. Data can be a certain risk occurred and what was the risk response the project team implemented. Information will be how effective was the risk response. Ninth, control procurements process. Data is which deliverables the seller has completed, and information is percentage of deliverables completed by the seller. 10th, monitor stakeholder engagement process. Here the data can be certain stakeholders are resisting the project efforts. The information will be if those stakeholders are properly engaged or not as per the stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. So you can see how much information is generated from all the monitoring and controlling processes. Now all this information is going as input to the monitor and control project work process. This is the process where the team will create the work performance report. The report can take any shape, electronic or paper, formal format or a simple memo, dashboard update or document delivered, presented in person or sent through email. Based on the need, the report may not include all the information we talked about. It makes sense that only that information is generated, which will be used for reporting or further analysis. Otherwise, it will be a waste of time to perform variance analysis and create work performance information that no one will ever look at. The purpose of a report is to either make a decision or take an action now or provide background for future decision and action. So the next obvious question is, what happens to work performance report? Well, the report is formatted and distributed during the managed communications process to appropriate stakeholders. And it is done following the communications management plan. It is then used by the project team, the project sponsor, and other stakeholders to make decisions and take actions. At the minimum, it updates them of the project status. One place where the report has a big benefit is perform integrated change control process. The report provides information about cost overspending or underspending, schedule delays, earned value numbers, iteration burn down, and velocity. The team and the project manager then may have to initiate a change request to align the project to the project management plan. The project manager during the manage team process will use the work performance report to make decisions and take actions. For example, the information about schedule delays, cost overruns, and quality issues can be helpful in motivating the team to modify the behavior and improve individual and team performance. Now, work performance report is also an input to the monitor risks process. The report can be a source to identify new risks due to schedule and cost forecasts. It may necessitate a review of the contingency and management reserves. So that was the full life cycle of where the data is created, how it is converted to information and lands into a report. And lastly, what happens to the report once it is created and what type of decision or actions it may trigger. Is there any part of the project reporting that you do not understand? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.